Hello there, everyone. I hope you're all right and staying safe and well. I'm fine. Thank you very much. I'm very, very well. And this week I've come to see you because I've got a brand new spanking shiny and bright new video for you. And this week it's part 16 of England's most successful football club. And this week is the first week where now I'm taking the amount of clubs that I cover down to just one team, because from now on in, the videos, if I try and do more than one, it's going to take too long. I mean, last week's video went on for more than an hour, which in my opinion is too long. But if you prefer me to do two clubs, I will do, but it's going to make the videos really, really long. So I prefer just to try and make it shorter and sweet. This one should be this week just over half an hour, which I think is okay. But yeah, if you want to let me know in the comments how you feel about that, that'd be fantastic. So this week's team is Ipswich Town. It's quite a good story, and they're, you know, with all their ups and downs, but a lot of ups really. So it should be a good one, and I hope you all enjoy it. Anyway, so please remember, if you're new to the channel, please, 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 I can't iterate, I can't stress how much or how important it is that you subscribe to the channel, especially if you want to see more of the content from me, because it'll let you know when I've uploaded a new video. And also it helps boost it helps get the video out to other people who don't know about my channel and about my videos. So yeah, if you can do that, that'd be brilliant. Also, please remember to put a like on the video, and please pass it around to other people who you think might be interested, because all those things will help greatly. So yeah, thanks ever so much everyone for watching, and all the people that have subscribed so far. I'm really, really grateful for that. Anyway, hope you enjoy the video, and let's see what Ipswich have got to offer. Everyone, so we're back on the Warren's Team Talk bus, and we're on our merry way again. And the first stop this week is we're making a trip up to Suffolk to go and visit Ipswich Town. Now, Ipswich Town, they accumulated 2,385 points and finished 25th in the Warren's Team Talk table. Now, Ipswich Town are also known as the Tract Boys or the Blues, and they were formed in 1878 when they merged with the local rugby club, Ipswich Rugby Club, but they didn't turn professional until 1936. And then they were elected to join the Football League on the 30th of May, 1938. In the 1947-48 season, the Tract Boys finished 4th in the 3rd Division South, and then 6 years later, in the 1953-54 season, they secured the league title, which was their first ever in their history, which was the 3rd Division South, and this enabled them to win promotion to Division 2 Tier 2. But the very next season, they were relegated back to the 3rd Division South. In August 1955, Ipswich appointed Alf Ramsey as their manager, and he ushered in a great period of success for the club before he left to take control of the England national team in April 1963. He would lead England to success in the 1966 World Cup, and he would receive a knighthood for his exploits. Now, I have to say that success he had as England manager is as good as it may appear to many people. It don't fool me. As Diego Maradona said, the ball was this far in front of the line before it crossed. And England have got a Russian linesman to thank for that. Yeah, so they were also lucky, obviously, that Scotland didn't make it to the World Cup finals that year, because I'm sure if they played each other, England would have suffered defeat like they did the first time they played after the World Cup finals. But anyway, that's another story. And I just love winding you lot up. That's all. So just indulge me. All right. Anyway, so moving on. In their first season back in the 3rd Division South, in the 1955-56 season, they secured a 3rd place finish in the 3rd Division South when they lost only one home league game all season, and were edged into 2nd place by 1 point by Brighton and Hove Albion. And they missed out on the title to Leyton Orient by only 2 points. And then the very next season, in 1956-57, and they made up for the disappointments of the previous season when they won the 3rd Division South title, when they narrowly beat Torquay United on goal average to win the title by 0.479 of a goal, which gave them promotion back to the Division 2 Tier 2. Division 2 Tier 2. Another fact about this season, which made this season all the more sweeter for Ipswich, was the fact that their bitter East Anglian rivals, Norwich City, finished bottom of the table that year and were forced to go through the trauma of the re-election process. Now, I know the slide that I put up for you there has got some errors in it, so I do apologise about that. But you can see that Ipswich that season scored a monumentous 101 goals. So they did very, very well, obviously, that season. Now, moving on. Then 4 years later, in the 1960-61 season, the Tracks boys won the second division Tier 2 title by a single point from Aston Villa and won promotion to the 1st Division Tier 1. And then the very next season after that, in the 1961-62 season, their first in the 1st Division, Ipswich won the league title, which qualified them for the next season's European Cup. So just as Nottingham Forest would do, maybe I think 17 or 18 years later, under the managementship of Brian Clough, they came up from the 2nd Division and immediately won the 1st Division. So that's no mean feat, obviously. Anyway, so let's move on. Then the next season, 1962-63, although their European campaign only lasted a short period of time, and 2 rounds actually, it was notable for the fact that in the first round, the preliminary round, I should say, they defeated Maltese side Floriana 14-1 on aggregate, before being knocked out by the eventual winners, AC Milan, in the first round, 4-2 on aggregate. Now, as you can see, in that game against the Maltese side, Floriana. They won the first leg 4-1, and then in the second leg they won 10-0. So I don't know quite what happened in that second leg, but it looks like Ipswich absolutely destroyed them. And then against Milan, they lost obviously 4-2 on aggregate, but they in the first leg at Portman Road they won 3-0, and sorry, they lost 3-0 at the San Siro, I should say, but they did win the return leg 2-1 at Portman Road. And then the next season, in the 1962-63 season, Ipswich would lose to Tottenham Hotspur in the FA's annual curtain raiser / charity match at their Portman Road ground by 5-1. And in that game, Jimmy Greaves scored a couple of goals, as he inevitably did. And that was played in front of a crowd of just over 20,000. So that must have been a bit of a rude awakening for the Tractor Boys, losing that heavily at home, especially in a game of that magnitude. But anyway, like I say, it's only like a glorified pre-season, really. So I'm sure they weren't too bothered about it. Then in the 1967-68 season, Ipswich would win another second division Tier 2 title with a winning margin of a single point over Queen's Park Rangers. Who finished and they finished second that year. So you can see it's very tight margin at the top there, because Blackpool finished third, also finished on 58 points. So it was very, very tight there at the top. And then in 1969, Bobby Robson took over as Ipswich manager, and under his reign, the club enjoyed another great period of success. Now, Bobby Robson, I have to say, I absolutely love the guy. I think he's one of the greatest managers that England has ever produced. And he's probably, in my opinion, their most successful international manager of all time. Yeah, I know Alf Ramsey won the home World Cup on home soil, but Bobby Robson took England to a semi-final of a World Cup on foreign soil. Yeah, they were a bit fortuitous to get to the semi-final, it has to be said. But he is a great manager and a great motivator of players. You listen to any of the players that have played under him, and everyone, no one's got a bad word to say about him. And he also, he was a great manager. Every club he's been at, he's done great things with. So anyway, let's move on. And his reign, again, he brought a great period of success to Ipswich. Ipswich then enjoyed 2 consecutive 4th place finishes in the First Division Tier 1 in the 1972-73 and 1973-74 seasons. And in both these seasons, their 4th place finishes qualified them for the UEFA Cup in the next seasons. In their 1973-74 UEFA Cup campaign, Ipswich defeated Real Madrid of Spain 1-0 on aggregate. And they also, in the second round, they defeated Lazio of Italy 6-4 in aggregate. And in the third round, they defeated FC20 of Holland 3-1 in aggregate before they were eventually knocked out by Lokomotiv Leipzig of East Germany on penalties. So, and that was in the quarterfinals. So, yeah, they did very, very well. Unfortunately for the Tractor Boys, though, in the 1974-75 season, they would face FC20 again in the first round. And on this occasion, the Dutch side got their revenge for being knocked out in the previous season's tournament by beating Ipswich on the away goals rule when the tie ended in a 3-3 draw. So, yeah, I'm sure that Ipswich would have hoped to gone a bit further than they did that year. But never mind, that's football, I guess. Also, in the 1974-75 league season, Ipswich secured a third-place finish in the first division, and it was first division tier 1, and they missed out to Derby County by 2 points for the league title. This again qualified the club for the following seasons, UEFA Cup and the 1975-76 season. And in that season's UEFA Cup campaign, it saw them beat Feyenoord 4-1 on aggregate in the first round. And then, unfortunately, in the next round, they lost 4-3 on aggregate to Club Brugge. Then in the 1976-77 season, Ipswich successfully secured a third-place finish in the first division, Tier 1, which again gave them, the club, another crack at the UEFA Cup for the following season. And in the 1977-78 UEFA Cup campaign, in the first round, they defeated Landskrona Bulls of Sweden 6-0 on aggregate. The first leg, Ipswich won 1-0, and the second leg, they won 5-0. In the second round, they defeated UD Las Palmas of Spain 4-3 on aggregate. And then in the third round, they drew 3-3 on penalty and drew 3-3 on aggregate with Barcelona, but were knocked out on penalties. Then also in the 1977-78 season, Ipswich Town reached their first ever FA Cup final, and today is their only ever FA Cup final. And for them, it was a fantastic day. And they defeated one of my clubs, Arsenal, by 1-0. And I have to be honest, Ipswich thoroughly deserved their victory, and they absolutely decimated Arsenal. I mean, to be honest, if the scoreline had been 3 or 4-0, it wouldn't have flattered them at all. They absolutely destroyed Arsenal that day. And I remember when my first ever teacher at secondary school, Mr. Chilvers, Martin Chilvers, when I started in his class at secondary school and he found out I was an Arsenal supporter, my God, he gave me so much stick about this game. He absolutely ripped it out of me big time. So, but fair play to him. I thought it was funny, and yeah, what a great man and a great teacher. And I loved being in his classes. He is, because I still think he is teaching, a fantastic teacher. Anyway, but just his choice of football club that leaves a little bit to be desired, but never mind. Anyway, moving swiftly on. And then obviously because they did defeat Arsenal 1-0 at Wembley Stadium, thanks to a goal by Roger Osborne in the 78th minute. At the beginning of the next season, they played Nottingham Forest in the 1978 FA Charity Shield, and this time Nottingham Forest just overwhelmed them completely because they defeated Ipswich Town heavily 5-0. And as you can see in the slide, Martin O'Neill scored a couple, Peter With scored one, Larry Lloyd got one, and John Robertson got one. So Brian Clough would have been delighted with that. So because of their cup win, Ipswich qualified for the next season's UEFA Cup, and UEFA Cup Winners' Cup, and their Cup Winners' Cup campaign for the 1978-79 season saw them win 2-0 on aggregate against a Dutch side, AZ Alkmaar, and then in the second round they beat SSW Innsbruck of Austria. 2-2 on aggregate, and they went through they won 2-1 on aggregate and against Innsbruck of Austria. And then in the quarterfinal, again, they came up against Barcelona, and unfortunately, again, they lost on the away goals rule to Barcelona. So I'm sure Ipswich by this stage were getting sick of the sight of Barcelona, but obviously they're a great club, and I was sure that they weren't too disheartened after that. Anyway, after they right, okay, hold on just a second. Right, okay, so the next season, in the 1979-80 season, Ipswich secured another third place finish in the first division, and as a consequence, this qualified them for the UEFA Cup in the 1980-81 season. And that season, they won the tournament by defeating AZ Alkmaar 5-4 on aggregate in the final, as their final was played over 2 legs during that time. And the highlights of that campaign, they beat, as you can see, Saint Etienne 7-2 on aggregate of France. In the semi-finals, they beat FC Cologne of Germany 2-0. So it was a great performance by them to win the UEFA Cup. So let's move swiftly on. Then for the next 2 seasons, 1980-81 season and 81-82 season, Ipswich had 2 consecutive second place finishes, and this again qualified them for the UEFA Cup on both occasions. And in 1981-82 season, Ipswich were finally knocked out 4-2. Oh, they were knocked out on aggregate 4-2 in the first round to Aberdeen, and then in the 1982-83 season, they were knocked out by Roma 4-3 in aggregate in the first round. So they got knocked out both times in the first round. And I think the game against Aberdeen, I'm not sure, but I think Alex Ferguson was managing Aberdeen at the time. Then in July 1982, Bobby Robson left Ipswich to go and manage the English national team. And like I said, I believe that he was probably England's greatest ever international manager, despite that 1988 tournament in Germany when they got humiliated. Anyway, unfortunately for the Blues, in the 1985-86 season, Ipswich were relegated to the second division, Tier 2. And then 6 years later, in the 1991-92 season, Ipswich returned to England's top flight by winning the second division Tier 2 title. And then 5 years later, in the 1996-97 season, Ipswich finished fourth in the first division Tier 2, but missed out on promotion when they lost on the away goals rule to Sheffield United after the tie had ended in a 3-3 draw on aggregate in the playoffs. So, in the 1998-99 season, after suffering relegation from the Premier League in the 1994-95 season, they finished third in the first division Tier 2, but failed to win promotion after they lost to Bolton Wanderers on the away goals rule in the playoffs after the tie had ended in a 4-4 draw on aggregate. And then the next year, in the 1999-2000 season, they again finished third in the first division Tier 2, but this time the club did manage to win promotion back to the FA Premier League, and they did this through the playoffs by beating Barnsley 4-2 in the playoff final. Then finally, in the 2004-2005 season, Ipswich secured a third place finish in the first division Tier 2, but missed out on promotion when they lost 4-2 on aggregate to West Ham United in the playoff semi-finals. Okay, so the club does, as you can see, have a proud European record, having competed in all three of the former European club competitions, and in all their seasons in playing football in Europe, they never once lost a home game in any European competition. So that's a record I'm sure they're very, very proud of. And as you can see, they did set up a few years ago now a Hall of Fame, and this, what you can see here, this slide here shows just some of the players that are in this Hall of Fame. I've just picked out a few so that we can look at. I'm not going to go through it all, but the highlights for me obviously are this guy called by the name of Roy Crawford, who scored 227 goals in 353 appearances for the club. Mick Mills, who made 741 appearances for the club. John Walk, who scored 179 goals in 678 games. Obviously, there's a lot of really famous players there. Terry Butcher, of course, who was England's centre-back for a number of years. There's sort of Paul Mariner, who went on to play for my team, one of my teams, Arsenal. Arnold Muren, Bobby Robson, Alf Ramsey, Brian Talbot, one of my heroes at Arsenal. yeah, so there's a lot of really great players there. But anyway, so that's our trip to Ipswich Town over. I hope you enjoyed our little trip up to Suffolk to see them. Okay, everyone. So, yep, I hope you enjoyed Ipswich Town stories. Ipswich Town story, I should say. Yeah, so thanks very much for watching the video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed researching it and putting the video together for you. Anyway, that's it for this week. I hope you've, like I say, you've enjoyed it. If you are new to the channel, thanks ever so much for stopping by and watching my video. I'm really grateful for that. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel and please don't forget to put a like on it before you leave. And don't forget to put your notifications on, because it will let you know as and when I upload a new video. Anyway, guys, thanks again for everything. Thanks for all the support you've given me. I really do appreciate it. And please remember to look after yourselves and stay safe and well. And remember to please keep talking, and have a great time this week. And I look forward to speaking to you all again really soon. If not before, it'll be next Saturday. Anyway, take care, guys. Bye. Thanks a lot. Bye.